गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. We were doing the pramanas, and we saw that through the pramanas, through the authorities, the various 6 authorities, the infinite consciousness cannot be established, but the individual consciousness, that consciousness expressing through this panchakosha, this can be established, but not the infinite one. And towards that we were looking at the pratyaksha pramana, we have seen that, anumana pramana we have seen, and we are looking at shabda pramana. I think we saw that also, but just a recap. It is only because of this pramana that one is able to communicate about the Paramatma, that Mahavakyas like Tattvamasi get transmitted, and the oneness of the relative and absolute is established. For whom is this? Through this Shabda. Who is communicating to whom? The teacher is communicating, the scriptures are communicating to the conditioned consciousness. This statement that this communication is not for the infinite consciousness. So essentially we are all infinite consciousness imagining to be the conditioned consciousness, and this imagination is being cut by a new knowledge. And what is that knowledge? That you are Tattvamasi, you are that. And how is it communicated? Through words. And that is what we saw, and this way, and the oneness of the relative and the absolute is established. The whole idea is, if you think about it coolly, this example you have given umpteen number of times. So once again, when you touch the wave, you are touching the totality of the waters called ocean, and you are touching the infinite waters at the same time. Similarly, when you touch the individual, you are essentially the total, the Ishvara, or the infinite, the Paramatma. So in this, where is the problem then? If everything is the same, only the infinite or the totality is expressing, then where is the problem? Problem is in the identification. See? And then why are these words used, Tattvamasi? So that you get fired up. Instead of thinking that I am this body, you start thinking, contemplating, living as I am the infinite consciousness. What is the consequence of that? At the totality level, the consequence of that is I am the one, I am that consciousness which is expressing through one and all. I am the life in all. Hiranyagarbha sthiti, or the the Hiranyagarbha sthiti. Even if you come to that, all problems over of your life. No fear of death, no excitement of birth, because all that is going on in me. Where's the fear? If I am everything, Vibhu. Now, this is possible because we are communicating right now. And communication is happening through words. Now, as Raman Maharishi says in Upadesha Sara Shloka 24, the difference between the Jiva and Ishvara is because of their conditionings and their Veshas. The Jiva Vesha are the limitations, and the Ishvara's Vesha is Parokshatva. So, and what is this Parokshatva and conditionings? The Jiva is thinking that I am the body, breath, mind, intellect. And what is Ishwaratva? Ishwara, he is beyond the clouds, he is in the temples, he is in the pilgrimage centers. No, he is in your heart. So we have taken God principle or the Ishvara to be separate from ourselves, different from ourselves. Just because he is more powerful doesn't mean that he is separate to you. He is present at this very moment, he is present in our heart. So this parokshatva has to be given up, and this identification has to be given up. In the end, Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar is the question. These have to be sorted. And you have to sort that Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar is basically one reality alone. And what is that one reality? You are that reality. When you are that reality, what will happen to Jeev, Jagat, Ishwara? They may be there, they may not be there, but you are unaffected by the thoughts of Jeev, Jagat, Ishwara, because we are established in the consciousness as the consciousness. Or, for some people for whom it will help, that you are a part of the Ishvara, so merge into the Ishvara, surrender to the Ishvara, be one with the Ishvara. Bring yourself to do that. Like you surrender yourself to sleep, you surrender yourself to Ishvara. That is also possible. That is the Bhakti mark. Then the individual and the universal, they become one, or the total, they become one. Well, they were one in the first place. You were imagining they are separate. You are imagining they are separate. Ramakrishna Paramhans was imagining that the Kali Mata is an obstacle in his Vedantic meditation. He said, I can't take away Mata from my mind. And he needed the help of Totapuri Maharaj. Totapuri Maharaj came. How did he communicate to him? By words. How are we communicating to you? Words. How do you communicate to your children? By words. But here, it's not about the worldly communication. Yes, it is worldly in one sense, but our attention and our quality of communication is to establish the union between the individual and the infinite. And once we establish once we become convinced that the individual consciousness and infinite consciousness are one, and consciousness cannot be two consciousnesses, they have to be essentially one, immediately it clicks. Or you surrender, whichever way. So here Bhagavan is saying, when these two conditionings are rejected, what remains is the pure consciousness, the substratum, which is supporting the relativity as well as the absolute with reference to the relativity. Verse number 4 and 5 of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatamidam sarvam. I am the whole world is in me. I am in the whole world. In the 5th verse, neither the world is in me nor I am in the world, yet I support the whole phenomena of the world without, and I remain transcendental to the world, even while I am supporting the phenomenal world. We have taken the phenomenal world to be real. That's where the problem is beginning. We are not taking the consciousness to be real. We have taken the phenomenal world to be real. No, I don't take the world to be real. I understand this is phenomenal. Have you included your body in it? Have you included your breath in it? Have you included your thoughts in it? That they are also the phenomenal part of the phenomenal world? Have you included the waker, dreamer, sleeper in it? They are also phenomenal. We have very we, we imagine that we are not disturbed by the world until unless you don't include everything that is other than you, that you have chosen to impose the limitations of. You yourself are choosing the limitation of children and becoming the mother. Being mother is not a problem, but being a miserable mother is a problem on account of children. And how old are the children? 60, 70, 80 years old. Then the problem is there. This is where the Maya Tatamidam Sarvam. Support the phenomena. I support the phenomena without getting affected by the phenomena, because I am transcendental to the phenomena. So, what is the phenomena? All the roles that you are playing is the phenomena, virtual reality. Being the body, breath, mind, intellect is a phenomena. Illusory reality. Gaunatma, Mithyatma. And who are you? You are that infinite consciousness which has never been swayed by objectivity. Never been swayed. It is not possible for this consciousness to be limited. It is not possible for this consciousness to be conditioned. It is not possible for this consciousness to be entangled in the world. But I feel I am entangled. Your imagination, your mind is entangled. And if you are saying that I am entangled, you are watching that your mind is entangled. So who is the watcher? Who is not attached to the mind? That's why he is able to watch. Be that. Today's meditation. The fundas should be clear. If the fundas are not clear, fundamentals are not clear, then all the cobwebs begin to spread in the mind. In this way, Shabda Pramana is useful so far as the conditioned consciousness is concerned. So, Shabda Pramana is used only to help us or establish the conditioned consciousness. Now, next one. Upamana Pramana. Knowledge by comparison. Paramatma is compared with space, Akashavat. As space is untouched by all the remaining four elements, Paramatma is untouched by anything else. This is also a conditioned expression. So that is the only example which is taken in the scriptures to compare. And there again we say Bhutakash, Chittakash, Chidakash. Remember, this is the thought here. So, but we are not talking about Chidakash here. Here we are establishing that what is the nature of the conditioned consciousness? How is it supporting everything but not affected by anything? So then a comparison is made, just like the space. The space is accommodating the whole universe but is unaffected by the whole universe. So many galaxies are coming into existence, so many galaxies are going out of existence. The whole solar system is continuously going round and round and round. And while the solar system is going round and round and round, is the space going, "Arey yaar, arey, tickle ho raha hai, it's tickling me here, tickling me there." It's not doing anything like that. It's continuously the same in spite of all that it is supporting. Can we take that position that we are the same in spite of all that we are supporting? What are we supporting? We are supporting the Anandamaya Kosh, Vigyan, the bliss sheath, the intellectual sheath, the mental sheath, the vital air sheath, the physical sheath, the senses, and through the senses and the mind, the entire world, which is the projection of the mind. We are only supporting it because all this is not possible if consciousness is not there. And sometimes this is very difficult to understand. So we say, so the scriptures give us another comparison, like Chittakash, how the mind is supporting the entire world in the dream, exactly the same way the mind space is supporting the entire world in the dream, same way the mind space here is supporting the entire world in the waking. So which means every person's mind is supporting every mind. We are not worried about what other people's mind are doing. You worry about your mind. And you are thinking, because of your attention on your body, you think you have an individual mind. But according to scriptures, there is only one mind. There is no many minds. According to the scriptures, expression of consciousness through the total body, through the body, is a phenomena which cannot be stopped. Expression of consciousness through the body is a phenomena which cannot be stopped. And that is the Virat Purush, Vaishwanara. Till here is the God's creation. Expression of consciousness through matter. Then where is individual creation beginning from? Consciousness identified with matter is individual creation. See? Consciousness expressing through matter. Be attentive of the words that are being used. Consciousness expressing through matter is God's creation. Consciousness identified with matter is individual creation. So what is your sadhana? Right now I am identified, disidentified. Then where are you? You are in God's creation. Story over. What is the vision of the God, of the Virat Purush? Read chapter 11 Bhagavad Gita. Everything is in that infinite person, in that Virat Purush. I shouldn't even say in that. Well, we can. Just like in the ocean, all waves are imagined. Are the waves having a separate existence apart from the ocean? No. Is ocean expressing through every wave? Yes. Exactly the same way. In the Vaishwanara, in the Virat Purush, all the individuals are imagined. Is the Virat, is the total person expressing through the individual at any given moment? Yes. So raise yourself to that level. Drop this individual identification. So here the example taken is, just as the space is supporting the entire creation without getting influenced by it, similarly, you are that consciousness which is supporting not only this body, breath, mind, intellect, but also the entire creation. You are that consciousness. You can say supporting all the thoughts, supporting the mind, but unaffected by it, uninfluenced by it, not entangled in it. That is your natural state. It will not be natural state for you till you don't put attention on it. If we keep insisting, I am the body, I am the grandmother, I am the mother, I am the wife, I have to survive, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to, then gone. What can you do? Natural state is always there, but you are not available to it. Sun is always there, but you are not available to it. Not ready to open the window. What to do? Not sun's fault. It's like you are the sun, you are the consciousness, and you have forgotten that you are the infinite consciousness. It's a stupidity. It's not a... Then for that, what we have to do? I can open the window to the sun which is outside. How do I open the window to myself? Opening the window to yourself is shifting the attention or allowing the mind to contemplate on the self rather than the world, rather than the conditionings. Contemplate on Tattvamasi, contemplate on Aham Brahmasmi, contemplate on the scriptural statements. That's the way of opening the window of your mind. In that opening of the window, what will happen? Mind will dissolve. This is the Upamana Pramana. Continuing, Arthapatti Pramana, cause and effect relationship. If there is creation, the effect, there must be a creator, cause. Thus, by looking at the world, we give the status of cause to God in the form of material and efficient cause. Because we live in this world as an identified person, as an individual, we are at the mercy of cause and effect. We are unable to click out of cause and effect. Consciousness is beyond cause and effect. But if we have to talk about cause and effect, our main question is, if I am the cause, my children are the effect. My thoughts are the cause and the consequences, the desires are the effect. My desire is the cause and the action is the effect. My action is the cause, the karma phal is the effect. It goes on. So from childhood we are told, if you don't eat food, if you don't eat vegetables, then you will not have a good health. So we cause good food, all vegetables. Effect, good health. If you don't study, you will not get a job. Thank God I didn't listen to my parents. I didn't study. I studied what was important to study. See, I was not against study, but what is being taught was the problem. But cause and effect. If you don't study, how will you get a job? If you don't study, how will you make money? If you don't have a profession, how will you survive? There you go. Cause and effect. And same cause and effect when we are for some time with ourselves, the question comes, I can understand cause and effect for small, small things, that I am the effect of my parents, etc., etc., this body. So we say, where did this world come from? What is the cause of this world? We say God. Majority of the parents, majority of the teachers say God. But they never explain. Then the student starts thinking, God created the world, but God is everywhere and everything. So how he created the world out of himself? And for that, the answer is not with the parents. They say, don't ask foolish questions. They say that and shut us up. But it was a valid question asked to a wrong person. Questions are never not invalid, but it has to be asked to the right person who has the authority to answer it. Then what was told? It took 32 years, 33 years to get answers to those questions. And what was the answer? The God principle or the total consciousness itself is the material out of which the creation is made, and he himself is the creator who uses the material called himself to make the variety of creation that I am experiencing, and experiences it himself. So he is the material cause and he is the creator also at the same efficient cause. Nimitta Karan, Upadan Karan. Water itself is the material out of which the wave and the ocean are created, and water itself is the creator of the wave. Material also and creator also. Can the mud become the creator of the pot? No, you need a potter there. Can the gold become the ornament? No, you need a goldsmith there. But you understand what I am trying to say. That the divine or the consciousness itself is the material and itself is the creator or the cause. And that cause is of two types. Nimitta cause, the efficient cause, and the material cause. How can both be one if they are like that? How? Get there and find out. This is the way the cause and effect is sorted in our scriptures. In the example, in the dream, the mind is the efficient cause and mind is the material cause of the entire dream creation. Isn't it your experience every day? Did you create it? Did you create the dream? Or it just happened? It just happens. It's an eternal phenomena. It's an eternal phenomena. You cannot stop it. Then if we can't stop it, do we succumb to it? No, rise above it. You have a choice. Either succumb to it and keep complaining for the rest of your life why the world is so difficult, why this is like that, why the rules keep changing, why the pension is not increasing, why this, why that, why. There's no answer. Until today, we have asked that question so many times, why the disease is coming in the body, why people die, why people behave in this manner. No answer. But we keep asking the same questions and just get worked up. Instead, rise above these questions. Accept this is how the world is. Accept this is how the world is. If you say, why the dog's tail is crooked, and try n number of methods to make it straight, it will continue to remain curled. And then you will be frustrated. And that's what our condition is. Why the world is like that? Why my child behaved like this? Why my husband behaved like that? Why the government behaved like that? Why everything, why, and no answers, and we get frustrated. Leads to depression, eventual suicide. One person less problematic in the world. Other choice, raise yourself up. Raising yourself up means understand is just a phenomena. Cause and effect is just a phenomena. Whether you understand the cause, effect you can understand, see, but cause sometimes we can't see. Instead of, so when we don't see the cause, here teacher is telling that consciousness is the cause. That consciousness is the efficient cause, that consciousness is the material cause. Then if you take yourself, the consciousness that you are to be the efficient and the material cause, then there can be no hatred, there can be no differences, then there can be no comparisons, then there can be no competition, then there can be no otherness, there can be no differences. Everything is me alone. But we are afraid of that position also. That's too much responsibility, man. Am I the one who is functioning through the murderer also? Yes, you are. Oh my God, I don't want to be that. Gone. Remain complaining for the rest of your life. I can't stand lizard and spider. You mean to say I am the consciousness expressing through the spider and the lizard? Yes. You mean to say I am the material which has gone into making the body of the lizard and spider? Yes. Again, two choices. Either live in the fear of it or transcend. The whole idea is that you are whole and soul responsible for what? For the whole creation. No choice. First, recognize you are other than the conditionings and the limitations, which is the panchakoshas. Then recognize this in this manner, that this consciousness itself is the efficient cause, this consciousness that I am itself is the material cause. So then it will lead to sahaja avastha. Only separating yourself from the body will lead to meditation, samadhi. But when you come out of samadhi, again the world is there, again the problems are there. How do I convert the consciousness that I am to be the infinite consciousness or the all-pervading consciousness? This is the way. This instruction is not being given to the absolute consciousness. This instruction is not being given to the God consciousness. This instruction is given to the individual consciousness that you are. God doesn't need this explanation. Why? He already is. He already knows. Infinite doesn't need to know. Even God doesn't need to know because that is His nature. The only confusion is not with God or infinite. It is only the individual is confused. And what is the confusion? I am the consciousness or I am the body. तेरी की लगे रहो. अभी तक till now we are not sorted out whether I am the consciousness or I am the body. I feel I am always flipping between the two. लगे रहो. Sort it out once and for all. And the last one is Anupalabdhi Pramana. That in whose presence, in whose world, the whole world disappears is Paramatma. This is the meditation. This is the Samadhi Abhyas. Again, excuse me. Again, both places. Even as Samadhi, when does the whole world disappear? Firstly, the waking and the dream world disappears when I go to sleep. You think you are sleeping. You think you have gone to sleep. But what is the truth? Truth is you have gone back to being the consciousness. But I don't know it. Yes, all your knowledge is at the level of intellect and mind and intellect have no access into the consciousness. So it says, I don't know where I was. I think I was sleeping. I must have been sleeping. That's why I'm so fresh. No, freshness comes, rejuvenation comes only by touching the source. Sleep is not the source. Consciousness is the source. So you touched, you went back to being yourself, but the intellect does not know. So it says, I don't know. That I don't know where I was is called sleep. If you know, if you are awake and you saw that the mind has gone into sleep, then you are in Samadhi. See? That in whose presence the whole world disappears. What is your world? What is your world? One way of looking at it, Nama Roop is your world. Another way of looking at it, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, waking, dream and deep sleep is your world. See? In whose presence are all the thoughts. When we say name and form, where is the form? Gross form is outside, subtle form is inside. Where is name? Name is always in your mind. Name is not outside. What? Remember somewhere, which text we did, I don't know. What is the waking world experience? Waking world experience is, remember, Asti Bhati Priya Nama Roop. Satchit Anand, name and form. Name and form is the world. Satchit Anand or Asti Bhati Priya is your nature of consciousness. What is the status of name and form in the outside world? The form is outside, the word is inside. In the dream, the form is also inside and the name is also inside. That is called dream. So if right now, while you are listening to me, suddenly the eyes close and some thoughts are going on and your mind goes away somewhere traveling, then name and form are in the mind only. Or you close your eyes. What did he just now say? That was so interesting. And you close your eyes. Everything inside. So understand the status of the world. It's only name and form. So name is in the mind, form is in either it is outside or in the mind. Who knows it? In whose presence does a dead man have the experience of name and form? Does the dead man have the experience of waking and dream? No. So only the waking person, a live person. What is this life? In whose presence the name and form are coming and going. Anupalabdhi Praman. That in whose presence the whole world disappears. See? Who is that? And that is why we have told, scriptures have told, that when you go to sleep, without doing anything, the whole world is disappearing from your mind. Remain awake. Be watchful. But we enjoy sleep now. We want to live. Better to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. But it's only temporary. Consciousness is also bliss. It is of the nature of bliss. Be that. Why ignorance is bliss? Why you want to live as ignorance is bliss? Dekho. So be the presence in front of whom all the names and forms are coming and going. Here, the focus is on going because त्यागे नहीं के अमृतत्व मानशुः. Immortality is gained through renunciation, by giving up. So here we are not even saying you give up. Naturally, every night everything is being given up by the mind. It's a natural phenomena. Remain awake, remain wakeful. Uttishtha jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. Arise, awake, and be available to that to which the wise men are awake. See? So these are the 6 pramanas to establish the consciousness at the individual level. Our consideration of ourselves is, I am the body, I am the breath, I am the mind, I am so many different things. But instead, through these pramanas, we are establishing that we are the consciousness, not the limitations, not the conditionings, not the age, not the health, not the hunger, not the desires. We are the consciousness. And in this way, these are 6 authorities of knowledge can be used with reference to the conditioned consciousness, but not with reference to the pure self. These 6 authorities can be used to establish the conditioned consciousness. So when you are thinking you are a body, then you can come to, okay, I am not the body, I am the consciousness. Oh, thank God. There is a way to work that out. These are the 6 ways. Don't use these 6 ways to establish the pure self. Cannot. Clear? All the 6 are clear? No answer means everything is clear. Anyway, who cares? The doubt expressed in the 89th OV is to be understood in the context of this Pramana Vichara. न दिसे जरी अज्ञान तरी आहे हे नवे आन यया दृश्य अनुमान प्रमाण झाले. Even though the ignorance is not directly seen, it can be inferred to exist from the drashta seer, drushya seen difference. In the meditation we talked about druk drushya vivek. One day we'll take that text. Many years ago we talked about it. Druk drushya, drashta drushya. Drashta the seer, drushya the seen. That is the enquiry. It can be inferred. Here again the pramana is the inference from the seer-seen difference. The opponent argues, even if ignorance is not seen, it exists, it cannot be otherwise. Now the student is saying that ignorance exists. I don't know. What is behind me? I don't know. His attention is only on the gross experience. Let's see what he says. The opponent applies the same pramana vichar in the case of ignorance as in the case of conditioned consciousness. In the case of conditioned as in the case of conditioned consciousness, it was seen that name and the form alone are seen, but asti, bhati and priya are not seen, but they do not exist in every object. In the same way, it may not be possible to establish ignorance, but that does not prove that ignorance does not exist. The student is too smart. We may not be smart, but this student is smart. But there is no student there. Jnaneshwar Maharaj himself is bringing up these doubts because they appear in the mind as he is going back to the source, and these things have to be sorted out. So when we say asti bhati priya nama roop, remember in the anupalabdhi pramana, in the presence of whom all the names and forms are coming and going, and all other authorities also, the conditioned consciousness was being established. But can you come to know the conditioned consciousness? Can you come to know? Can you see the conditioned consciousness? Can you experience the conditioned consciousness? You cannot. So this student, this doubt which is coming in this 89th verse is an objective doubt. His attention is outside. I cannot experience the conditioned consciousness, therefore it is only your word. So because I cannot experience the conditioned consciousness, maybe it is there, maybe it is not there. Similarly, I cannot experience the ignorance, but I know ignorance is the cause of karma and karma. From karma and karma, what is the cause of karma and karma? Ajnana, ignorance. It alone is expressing. Same way you are saying that Nama Roop is expressing because of, but Nama Roop also is expression. We can say it is expression of ignorance. You are not established consciousness. It's only one word, consciousness. I am saying that it is not consciousness, it is ignorance. What can you do? Where is the problem here? Can you understand what the problem is of the student? He is not being subjective. If the student is subjective, then this question will not arise. In meditation also, in samadhi also, you know you are, but who you are, when you come out of meditation, mind is unable to say what it is. Because na vak gacchati, na mana gacchati. Speech cannot illuminate the consciousness, mind cannot comprehend the consciousness. Kenopanishad, remember? See? So if you can't reach it, you can't speak about it, you can't think about it, is there anything like that? I think it's ignorance. Ignorance also I can't speak about. It's only inference, no? One perceives the drishya seen object, one experiences the subject-object dichotomy, and thus the objective world is established. Applying Anumana Praman, that is the inference, the principle of concomitant variables, it is clear that the subject should also be, since drashta drishya bheda cannot be the Atma according to your own statement, it can come only from ignorance. So when the analysis is going on by the student is analyzing only from objective standpoint, that's what we just now said, and in that analysis, drashta drishya, what is drashta drishya? Seer and seen. Seer and seen is because he is inferring that I am seeing, but I don't know who is this fellow who is seeing. I don't know who is this fellow who is seeing. Ignorance. In the previous verse, towards the end, we said, in the presence of whom all the names and forms are going on. Here the student is saying, the seer is illuminating the scene, is the observer of the scene, and I cannot come to know the observer objectively. Through the thoughts, I can never come to know the observer. Through the mind, I cannot come to know the observer. So he wants to know the observer by remaining an observer. That is not an option. See, the eyes cannot see the eyes. The mind cannot come to know the mind. The intellect cannot come to know the I. The I cannot come to know the life principle. The life principle cannot come to know the consciousness. It's just like that. Then what do we have to do? Oh, that means if I cannot come to know, I cannot come to know, I cannot come to know, I cannot come to know at all the levels, then conclusion, I cannot come to know. I am an ignorant person. Is that what your conclusion about yourself is? The teacher is saying, this whole dialogue that you are making of seer and seen is itself happening in ignorance, and therefore there is no solution. It is that one consciousness which alone, as if, important, underline, bold, italics, do everything, as if is very important. That one consciousness alone, as if, expresses as subject and object. Oh, though conscious, that one infinite reality alone is expressing as subject and object. So what is the material that has gone into making the subject? What is the material that has gone into the object? Is the same consciousness. Oh my God. Remember the material cause and the efficient cause is the same. The essence is the same. That one Paramashiva, first chapter of this book, that one Paramashiva alone is as if expresses as, or here it is not as if, he expresses as Shiva Shakti. Because you are seeing two, don't forget the one. That one alone is expressing as the two. That one Shakti alone is expressing as the Sattva Rajas Tamas. But we get lost in the variety and we forget from where it began. We get lost in the world every morning, but we forget from where did the world begin. Did it begin from yesterday? Or it began the moment your mind clicked into activity? And you were watching. You're watching. The mind was silent in the morning, slowly it gets activated and the world enters into the mind, or mind projects the world. This is our daily experience. But what happens to us? We get lost in the world and we forget the source. The source being that untouched consciousness that we are. So this argument that if the self cannot be known objectively, then it is equal to the ignorance. Then why can't we say ignorance is the cause? Becomes null and void. Since drashta drishya bheda cannot be in the Atma according to your own statement, it can come only from ignorance. So if you are talking about seer seen, so what is Atma here? What is pure consciousness? Pure consciousness is from water's point of view, not the ocean point of view, but the water's point of view. From water's point of view, from the absolute consciousness point of view, there is no difference. It is a unified vision. We are just using words. There is nothing like that. It just is. Everything is known subjectively. Again, this is only a word trying to put across what could be the experience of that absolute. It's a vision without differences. It's an experience without an experience. It is a knowing without knowing. So does this lead to any knowledge? No, it is as it is. So in the Paramashiva, is the Shiva Shakti valid? No. From Paramashiva's point of view, only Paramashiva is. Then why did we bring the idea of Shiva Shakti? Because our attention is on the world. We want to explain. You want an answer. We want to explain because you want an answer. You want to sort out where this world came from. See? And who is Ishwar? Who is Shiva? Shiva is who has Prakriti completely under his, I shouldn't say control, he is uninfluenced by the Prakriti, and at any given moment he knows that he is the Paramashiva. That is Ishvara. What is our case? We are influenced by the Prakriti and we have forgotten we are the Paramashiva. Totally opposite. Change the equation for yourself. See? And in this way, this duality, wherever there is duality, it is only an expression of ignorance. This communication that is going on, it is happening in ignorance. Who is supporting it? Be that. In whose presence this is going, that? Be that. And what will happen? Initially you be that. Slowly, the duality, it will lose its impact. From being the seer, you will go to being the witness. From being the witness, you will go back to being the consciousness. Today's meditation, you are the seer with reference to the outside world, drashta. You are the sakshi with reference to the inner world. And when you transcend, meaning when the witness, when the witnessing consciousness becomes aware of itself, you transcend. Then there is nothing to witness thereafter. There is nothing to observe thereafter. This is how it is. Etad vaitad, this is that. That one we are, in essence. That is that pure consciousness. Be that. Here we are not studying this text to establish the world. We are not here to establish ignorance. We are not here to establish the senses or our relationships or our past and future. We are not here to establish space, time and objectivity. We are here to establish that we are at any given moment the infinite consciousness, and we have never fallen from that status. That is the whole purpose of Jnaneshwar Maharaj writing this. He takes up different arguments not to prove that they are valid, only to remove the doubts and come back to the pure consciousness that is. Who can give such a fantastic exposition after realization? This is called Shrotriya Brahmanisht. They are established in their reality, who they are, and yet are able to communicate it. Very rare breed. Krishna, established in his reality in the human form, and yet able to give the entire Bhagavad Gita with all its nuances, from the crisis to the karma yoga, to the bhakti yoga, to the dhyan yoga, to the jnana yoga, to moksha, everything in crystal clarity. Who can present this? Who is not affected, who is seeing the whole phenomena from outside. Not objectively. And you have also taken some positions like that many times. When it comes to a child and he has gone on, you understand what is going on in the mind of the child. Mummy, that person hit me. Mummy says, you go and hit him. Or sometimes we smile away their teeny mini fears. Why? Because we know more. Who is the Lord? He knows about everything. Because He is everything. Uddharet atmanatmanam natmanam avasadhayet. Raise yourself, by yourself, in yourself, for yourself. This must not be only once a day or once a week. Every moment our attention has to be on that. This is tato yuddhaya yuddhyasva, na kankshati na shoshati. This is the war within us. This is the war within us. To succumb to the world or to raise the consciousness and be the consciousness. And this opportunity to be the consciousness is every moment, every moment. See? Now the opponent proceeds to give illustrations of Anumana Pramana, inferential authority of knowledge, to prove that ignorance can be established. He is still not giving up. Who? The pseudo fellow. The ego is not ready to give up. The mind, ego is in the mind only, the mind is not ready to give up. It wants to continue to establish its identity. The ego wants to continue to establish its identity. And it does that by non-clarity, by doubt, by remaining in the loop of objectivity, by taking the conditionings as real. ना तरी चंद्र एक असे तो व्योमी दुणावला दिसे तरी डोळा तिमिर असे मानूये की. There is only one moon in the sky, but if one sees two moons, then one should conclude that there is a defect in the eye. Where is Jnaneshwar Maharaj taking his attention and where is he choosing to go? What was told before? That if you normally see one moon, and if you press your eye, you will see two moons. What is the status of the two moons? It's only phenomenal. There have never been two moons. There is only one moon. The doubt is taking you totally. There is only one moon in the sky, but if one sees two moons, then one should not conclude that they are phenomenal, but that there is then one should conclude that there is a defect in the eye. Okay, let's see what he says. In the same way, when the drashya, there is defect in the eye. Correct. This conclusion is correct, that if you are seeing two moons, there is a defect in the eye. The student is saying, or the doubter is saying, in the same way, when the drashya, the jagat, the duality is seen, it follows that the cause is ignorance. It is because of ignorance that the eye is seeing the variety. It is not because of consciousness that I am seeing the variety. It is because of ignorance I am seeing the variety. Is it correct or not? Sounds very valid, no? Here the student has taken the basic problem he is taking is, if I don't know consciousness and ignorance is also that cannot be known, then why you are insisting that I am the consciousness? Why the cause cannot be the ignorance? See, very subtle. If you can't understand, go to sleep, no problem. Although the Atman is one without a second, the plurality is seen because of ignorance. Now, yes, the plurality is seen because of ignorance. Jnaneshwar Maharaj is not saying that it is seen because of ignorance. Excuse me. Continuing with the example, भूमी वेगळी झाडे पाणी चेती घेती कवणी कडे न दिसती आणि अपाडे साजी असती. We see the trees above the ground, but we don't see where from they get their water, yet they are seen green. When the tree is seen, the water from which it draws sustenance is not seen. Only the trunk upwards can be seen, but not the roots below the ground, by means of which the water under the earth is drawn up. Therefore, continuing the thought, तरी तरी भरवसेनी मुळे पाणी घेती हे न टळे तैसे अज्ञान कळे दृश्यास्तव. Therefore, one has to accept that the roots get the water. Similarly, observing the world of plurality, one has to accept the existence of ignorance. क्या बोलोगे? He is hell bent on establishing avidya kama karma, and Jnaneshwar Maharaj is again and again trying to say there is only consciousness and nothing else. Just as it can be inferred from the green healthy conditions of the tree that it is drawing its sustenance through the roots, urdhvamulamadasyakam ashwatham prahuravyam. First three verses of the 15th chapter. What are they saying? Urdhvamulamadasyakam. This is the upside down tree. The roots are in the sky and the branches are in this world. Branches, leaves, fruits, flowers are this world. So where is it getting the nourishment from? Somewhere. That's why it is sustaining itself. And we get fascinated with these three verses and we draw the pictures and this and that and everything. But the fourth verse says, Na rupamasya tatapo labhyate na chanto na chadir na sampratishtha ashwathamevam suviruda moolam asanga shastrena dridhena chittva. Asanga shastrena dridhena chittva. First three verses, so beautifully, upside down tree, roots up, branches down, and that is the whole world. In the fourth verse, na rupam asya tatopalabhyate. There is nothing called such a tree. Immediately it is cut. First a picture is created, then it is removed. Like the small children, they build castles on the beach, and before going home, they jump and break it up completely. How much fun it is! Do you approach life in that manner? That child has got no attachment to that castle. He builds it with such great focus and intensity, and with that same joy, he destroys it also. Do we live life like that? We have built everything, our portfolio, our houses, our profession, our education, our children, our grandchildren, with so much focus and with so much of enthusiasm. With the same enthusiasm, are we able to give them up? You do when you go to sleep. Consciously you are afraid. Unconsciously you do it. If you only you can be like that child, then this whole world is a game. This is what Arjuna was told by Krishna, that this entire war has already happened. Only you are going to get the glory of it. The conclusion is foregone. Righteousness will win, will be victorious. Whether you fight or you don't fight, war is going to be fought. So same way, whether you know or you don't know, life is going to be lived. Life is going to unfold. The foregone conclusions, you are born with a blueprint of life that is going to work out at this body level. Question is, as it is getting worked out, are you going to take it happily, joyfully, enthusiastically, or you are going to complain the whole way? Just as it can be inferred from the green, healthy conditions of the tree that it is drawing its sustenance from the roots, even if the roots cannot be seen, in the same way, when the drushya padartha is seen, that is, when the world or duality is seen, it can be inferred that ignorance exists in the Atman. He is the student, the imaginary student. He is continuously thinking. When we say Asti Bhati Priya Nama Roop, he is thinking Nama Roop is in the Asti Bhati Priya. That Nama Roop, name and form, is in the Atman. When we say Atma is the material cause and the efficient cause, when we say Atma is the efficient cause and the material cause, material, what is the material? Space, air, fire, water, earth. So, Atma, in the Atma, space, air, fire, water, earth are existing. Similarly, when we say this whole world is avidya, kama, karma, the cause of karma is kama, the desires, the cause of desires is the ignorance. And if you say that the whole world is made from the consciousness, the material and the efficient cause, then ignorance must be in the Atma. See the logic? Then Atma alone is expressing as the ignorance. Atma alone is expressing as the desires. Atma alone is expressing as the karma. See? Because you only said it is the material cause and it is the efficient cause. So just as Paramashiva out of himself created Shiva Shakti, similarly the consciousness out of itself created avidya, kama, karma. The consciousness out of itself created the name and form. This is the general thinking, and this is where the confusion comes. That means the whole world is existing in the Atma. We say that sometimes. But what is Atma? Atma is consciousness. What is the nature of consciousness? It is omniscient, omnipresent, eternal, all-pervasive. So can we say like that? So is there a place for the world to exist in the Atma? Is there a place for day and night to exist in the sun? It's like saying ignorance is in Atma. Then why can't we say ignorance is Atma? Can we say day and night is the sun? Can we say day and night are in the sun? Can we say day and night are expressions of the sun? Can we say that? None of the three conclusions are valid. Are the day and night projected by the sun? No. Without the earth, without the sun, without the atmosphere, without the perfect angle of the sun, the mirage waters are not created. Can we say mirage waters are in the earth? Can we say mirage waters are in the sun or the atmosphere? But without that, they cannot express. Without those conditionings, they cannot express. Can we say they are in them? Similarly, can we say ignorance is in the Atma? Here, what is he saying? That it can be inferred that ignorance exists in the Atma. Because without Atma, ignorance cannot exist. If everything is existing because of Atma, then ignorance also exists because of Atma. And in Atma, if Atma is everything, without boundaries, it is all pervasive. We may have never thought about these doubts. Swamiji, till we didn't know that this doubt was there, we were happy. Now we are confused. Don't be confused. These discussions give clarity. Clarity not about the world, but about the consciousness that we are. This validation of the self with reference to the world has to be given up. The thought is continued with another example. Che ilia nide zaye nidristha thau vinohe pari swapna dauti ahe mano ye ki. On waking up, the sleep disappears, and after waking up, a person cannot know the sleep, yet the sleep can be inferred from the dream it generates. The one who has woken up from sleep does not know sleep. He who is sleeping cannot know sleep. So both things. Once you wake up, you cannot know sleep. Once you wake up, you cannot know dream also. And while sleeping also, you cannot know the sleep. And while dreaming also, you don't know that you are the dreamer. See the drama. It's only after waking up that you make these statements. Then how can the sleep be established? The existence of sleep can only be inferred from the experience of the dream that one had. In the same way, it may not be possible to establish ignorance directly, but it can be established inferentially from the experience of the drishya pradartha, objective perception of the duality. So yes, ignorance can be established only as an objective. The student is saying that just as we cannot know sleep in the sleep, we cannot know dream in the dream that we are dreaming, and yet after waking up we say we had a dream, we had a sleep. So he says that the existence of sleep can only be inferred from the experience of dream that one had. See? So what is that? What is the inference from the dream that one had? That when I had no dream, I was sleeping. This is the inference. If you are dreaming all night, then you are not sleeping. So what is sleep? Sleep is that state where there is no dream or waking. All objectivity is absent. We are inferring because we don't know what sleep is. Nobody has till now come to know what sleep is. So we are inferring. Where there is no waking experience or dream experience, that is called sleep. So he says, establish direct. Same way, it may not be possible to establish ignorance directly. Yes, now I come to understand that just like sleep can be inferred because of absence of waking and dream experience, similarly, ignorance cannot be known directly, but it can be inferred. It can be established inferentially from the experience of drushya padartha, objective perception of the duality. The doubter is saying that just as I don't know what sleep is, but I can infer that there is sleep. Similarly, I don't know what ignorance is, but from the drishya padartha, from the experience of the nama roop, from the experiential knowledge, I can infer that there is ignorance. That ignorance alone is expressing as the variety, multiplicity, objectivity. Because in the self, there is no subject-object duality. In the self, there is no subject-object duality. Then what is the cause of subject-object? It must be ignorance, inference. This is the conclusion reached by the opponent and stated in the next OE. Manauni vastu matre chokhe drishya zari evadhe faake tevha ajnana athi sukhe mano ye ki. Therefore, the expanse of the world of plurality in the pure self can justify the existence of ignorance. So the expanse of the world of plurality in the pure self. The student's conclusion is the whole world is existing in the pure self. This itself is a wrong conclusion. From pure self point of view, there is only pure self. But if everything is happening because if pure self is everything, then this world also must be in it. This is his conclusion. So he says if this whole experience of the world is expanse of the world of plurality in the pure self, can justify the existence of ignorance. If I tell you in another words, you may say that everything is Paramashiva. That Paramashiva, as if wanting to experience himself, expresses as Shiva Shakti. That Shakti then expands into plurality. How does she expand? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Then the Tamas becomes the Pancha, Mahabhut, space, air, fire, water, earth. At the Rajas, all the senses and the mind come about. At the Sattva, the intelligence comes about, the knowledge comes about. And the Purusha, as if expresses through the Prakriti. Can Prakriti live without the Purusha? No. Can Purusha live without Prakriti? Yes. When Purusha if Purusha can live without Prakriti, then he is called Parama Purusha, Paramashiva. When he is thinking of Prakriti, that same Parama Purusha is called as Purusha, as Shiva. Can man and woman two together. Can they live as husband and wife? Yes. Where is husband and wife? Inferential, with reference to someone. Is that husband or wife in the man or woman? No. Is it coming out of the man and woman? No. Can it be without man and woman? No. Then where is it existing? It seems to be real, the husband and wife role. But where is it existing? Only in its absence. So that absence is also in consciousness. That's what the student is saying. If this duality, this variety is existing in the self, and this variety has come due to ignorance, then this ignorance must be in the self. Therefore, in this absolute self, which is one without a second and in which plurality is definitely experienced, its cause, the ignorance, definitely exists and it can be proved without any effort. In this way, the opponent or student establishes that ignorance exists in the Atma on the strength of logic and pramana vichara. Pramana vichara, inferential knowledge. So, recapping it, absolute self, which is one without a second. Absolute self is the only thing, there is nothing else apart from it. And in which plurality is definitely experienced. If I am essentially that infinite self, in spite of being the infinite self, I am experiencing the duality of the world, plurality of the world. And where is this plurality which is being perceived? If I am essentially the infinite consciousness, that infinite consciousness can never go out of existence. It is always in that infinite consciousness. As that infinite consciousness, I am available to the duality, to the multiplicity, to the variety. And we have seen that this variety, the Nama Roop, the cause of it is ignorance. And if this world cannot be experienced, this total world of variety is existing in the pure self, and the cause of this variety is ignorance, then this ignorance must also be in the pure self. Simple logic. Its cause, its cause, whose cause? The cause of plurality. What is the cause of plurality? The ignorance definitely exists and it can be proved without any effort. In this way, the opponent establishes the ignorance, that ignorance exists in the Atman on the strength of logic and inferential knowledge. So long as one has the conviction that I am this body, no spiritual unfoldment is possible. Now the understanding comes. This problem, this whole argument in last 3-4 verses of ignorance is based on the premise by the student that I am the individual, that I am the body, that I am the drashta and this world is the drishya. Remember the 89th verse, that I am the drashta, this is the drishya. I am the seer, this world is the seen. And that is the basic premise. He is not taking the basic premise as I am the consciousness. His foundation is ignorance. His foundation is identification with the body. His foundation is that this world is real. This seer scene is real. And as long as the seer scene are valid, till then the truth can never be known. Then what is the prerequisite? The seer scene must dissolve in order for truth to reveal. You cannot have the truth, pure self, infinite consciousness, and the conditioned consciousness with reference to the body, breath, mind, intellect. You cannot have both at the same time. This is what the student is trying to establish. He's just giving it a name, ignorance. Ignorance exists in the self. Ignorance means identification with the body. Ignorance means the validation of duality. Both of them cannot coexist. If you are individual, then even though you are infinite, you are unaware of it, you are unavailable to it, you are not being it. If you are the infinite, then the duality, the variety becomes zero to you. What the student is trying to establish is he wants to be in the duality, he wants to be the drashta who is experiencing the world, and he wants to say that he is the consciousness also at the same time. Infinite consciousness. Individual consciousness, okay. But again, that individual consciousness, you cannot sit in meditation if you have a thought of anything in this world. It is not possible. Then it is not meditation. Even if one thought of anything or any person comes into your mind, your meditation cannot happen. Tyage nahi ke amritatva manusho. You have to give up everything. So Swamiji is saying here, as long as this conviction that I am the body continues to persist, till then spiritual unfoldment is not possible. Now find out in yourself. Now two things will happen. Either you will be fired up to give up the body identification and be the pure consciousness that you essentially are, or you will give up the study of scriptures and continue, yeah, this is too much, I cannot handle this, let me live in ignorance. That is easier to do rather than split my hair in understanding that which cannot be understood. You will be at these, every one of you will be at these crossroads. It is only by dropping the attitude of kartrutva karma and discovering the attitude of a devotee that the individuality can get dissolved. So Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, give up the individuality and surrender to the totality. This is the way. This is what you are doing in sleep also. You know the technique. And the technique was given in the 3rd chapter anyway. Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. Gross chanting, subtle chanting, causal chanting, and transcendental chanting. The word. So, first, what is the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Karmanyevadika. Your right is only to perform action, not expect a result. What was the third chapter? What is that purification leads to your attention not on the action but on the intention or the attitude behind the action. This is what here he is saying. Stop being the doer and shift your attention to the attitude. And what is the attitude? The attitude of a devotee, rather than I have to achieve it, I have to do this. No, surrender to the Lord. Till the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, ego is valid. Yes, it is becoming finer and finer and finer, but the ego is still there. Even in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th chapter, ego is there. Arjun gets a glimpse of no ego only when he is given the third eye vision and he sees the Virat Purush. But he is not able to digest the whole experience. Are we like Arjun? Not able to digest the experience? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.